Welcome to Pirates in the Hall. This is National Library Week.
Hi guys, I'm Prince with Parts in the Hall. It's been said that librarians are the original Google. Here we are asking students what's their question for the librarians. What's your name?
Elizabeth,
What's your question for the librarians?
how come some books aren't in the library?
There are not some books in the library because, well, for a few reasons. We don't have enough money to buy every book. We don't have space to buy every book. So we really focus on books that support the curriculum or we believe will be appealing to teenagers. And we have great public libraries, Palatine and Schaumburg, and they share books with us. So while we don't have every book, don't hesitate to come in and maybe we can get you something, we don't actually own, but another library in the area does.
What's your name?
Christian.
What's your question for the librarians?
So what do you guys do like after the whole media center closes? How do you guys clean up and shop and everything?
What I do to close the library is I make sure that nobody is in the library, no students, all the students have left. I check all of the doors and make sure that they are all locked, and we leave.
Noah,
Do you have any questions for librarians?
what do you guys do when it's not a lunch period and there's no people in the library?
When there are not students in the library, I just simply read a book.
Hi, what's your name?
Mr. Gross,
Do you have any questions for the librarians?
I do. So, now that everything is online anymore, does the Dewey Decimal System even still exist? And if so, is it newer? Is it cooler? Is it more impressive than before? Or have they simplified it in some way that makes sense to people who aren't librarians?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gross, for asking about the Dewey Decimal System. I personally love the Dewey Decimal System because it's an address of where all the books live in the library. So if you look at a book and see the side, the number tells you what genre the book is and where you can find it in any library in the United States. So yes, we still use the Dewey Decimal System, and it is a great way to find a nonfiction book.
What's your name?
Mary Claire Hake.
Do you have any questions for the librarians?
I guess my question would be what their favorite type of genre to read would be.
My favorite genre is nonfiction. Nonfiction tells real stories. So you can read a memoir like Heavy, poetry from Kevin Young, Me Talk Pretty by David Sedaris, Jeff Tweedy's biography about nasty women, and my favorite nonfiction book written by my husband, One Way Uphill Only.
What's your name?
Kathy.
Caitlin.
Do you have any questions for the librarians?
If you could read a book twice, what book would it be and why?
If you could be any fictional character, who would you pick?
Go. If I could read a book twice, it would be Dumplin'. Go. If I could be a fictional character, I would be Ellen from Dumplin' because she is a great supporting role for Dumplin', and she really helps her out and really is there for her.
If I have to read a book twice, it's going to be Nobody's Girl.
The book that I would read twice is Stephen King's 11/22/63.
If I could reread a book twice, it would be Roxane Gay's Hungry. It's a wonderful memoir about her struggle with obesity.
There are some books that I do read twice, and so the book that I most recently read twice is called Nine Wicked Ways. It's a short story collection from Margaret Atwood.
Okay, the fictional character I would be is Skeeter from The Help. And
If I could be a fictional character, I would be Plum from Dietland. She smashes the patriarchy and is an amazing feminist.
If I were a fictional character, I would be Katsa from the book Graceling. She's a fierce warrior.
Okay.
I'm not so.
What's your name?
Vignash.
Do you have a question for the librarians?
Yeah. What do they do after school?
Okay. After school, I go home and I spend some quality time with my 3 boys.
After school, I go back home and spend some time with my family.
After school. What do teachers do after school? It's the great mystery of the universe. Well, it depends, but this week it's been all about Face magazine.
What do I do after school is I have 3 children and a husband, so I'm usually at home with them. That's what I do after school.
What's your name?
Ethan Ollis.
What's your question for the librarians?
Why can't we eat in the library?
This is why we can't eat in the library. And the reason why we can't eat in the library is because we don't want mice here. And that's it. Thank you.
What's your name?
Zaire.
What's your question for the librarians?
How often do people in the library ask for the same book?
What book do people ask for more than once? Is Of Milk and Honey. It's a poetry book that students absolutely love.
Come on.
What's your name?
My name is Mr. Varghese.
What's your question for librarians?
I wanted to know how much they help students with research projects when they come to the library.
How much do I help with research projects? That depends. I help every time I'm asked, and I want to be asked more than anything in the world. So please, please ask me to help you with your research project, paper, whatever.
What's your name? What's your question for the librarians?
What's your favorite part of the library?
Now he's ready. My favorite part of the library is the couches that are up front.
Favorite part of the library is the fiction section.
My favorite thing in the library is the rolly stool.
My favorite part of the library is the media cafe. I think it's the coolest, neatest thing ever, and I love it.
My favorite part of the library is the nonfiction section.
What's your name?
Michael. Joe.
What's your question for the librarians?
What made them want to be librarians?
What made me want to work in a library? I really don't know. I wanted to work with high schoolers. I wanted to work in education. I love to read. I love to research. It just kind of fell into place.
What's your name?
Ricardo.
What's your question for the librarians?
Mr. Ramirez, why are you so short?
I stopped growing when I became perfect.
Alright, are there any good romantic books?
Definitely, there are lots of good romantic books, but if you want to woo a girl, you should read Of Milk and Honey. It's a poetry book
I'll
that
look into
girls
it.
love to listen to poetry.